Three, two, one.
Here we go!
Hey,
Hey,
I think we're live. And there's
yeah.
5 people watching, 4 people. One person just said, the hell with this. I'm out of here. Hey, guys,
I'm going to
welcome.
temporarily pull your root tube off and add it back in.
My what?
Your root tube stream says it's not.
Oh,
So
my
I'm gonna pull it
RootTube
out
isn't
first
going.
and
Yeah,
try
you
to
know
add it
what?
back
Because
in.
I haven't even set it up in RootTube. It's been so long since we've done a live stream. I've done a live stream. I forgot how to do it. I forgot how to hook up my camera, my microphone. My original microphone didn't work. Had to get a new microphone in. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while. So, and you're frozen, or at least your video is. Are you with me? Hello?
I'm
Gavin.
here. Give me a sec.
Yvonne, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Yvonne, can you tell me, is Kevin frozen on your end? Because he's frozen on my end. I can't. See
Okay,
what's
am I
going on.
back now?
No. Afro
No.
Lev in the house.
Can you hear me? Hey, Andy. Hello, can you hear me?
Your video is behind your audio. I guess we got a buffering
Of
issue.
course.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit better. But Doc the Butcher's in the house. Both are fine, says Yvonne. All right.
Okay.
We'll just go.
Well,
I
hey,
haven't done this in a
everybody.
while.
Welcome.
Welcome. I feel like this is my first podcast ever. I don't know what to say. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know what we're talking about. Why did we decide to do this? Oh yeah. Immigrating to Russia.
We have been hearing some strange, oddball things from people, and we want to make sure people are getting correct information when they come here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. We've and backing up to my intro, I don't even know. I guess I uploaded that intro. I must have. It's mine. But it was the wrong intro. Anyway. It doesn't matter. How are things in Crimea, Kevin?
We're doing all right. It was a little chilly today. It was sunny at least. It's been raining the last couple of days.
Well, we have had a beautiful last few days. Of course, the big story, actually, there's a couple of big stories that we're not even talking about. But we had May 9th celebration on
Yep.
Friday, the 80th anniversary of the victory over fascism. That
Yep.
was extraordinary because many world leaders, especially those from the global south, were here. 2 leaders specifically from the Americas. We had Venezuela
Madura.
and Cuba in the house.
Yeah. And we had their soldiers in the parade.
Soldiers in the parade. Xi Jinping was here as well.
Yep. Lots of
And-
Chinese troops in the parade.
Lots of Chinese in the parade, and the great antagonist from the east. No, from the west. From the west. Yeah, he's
Which
west.
one?
Yeah, great antagonist from the west. kept sending aerial vehicles with armaments
Yep.
into Russian airspace. Some 500 plus aerial vehicles in the last few days.
Yep.
Unprecedented, actually, because we'd never had that many at one time.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing going on, and maybe we could do. Oh, there's Kevin. Maybe we could do another live in a couple of days because, just briefly, had to hit on the geopolitics just a little bit, even though this is Moscow Photographer Channel, but just briefly. We had the gang of, what do they call it, 4+1 now, or 5+1? I don't know what they're calling this now.
Coalition of the Willing.
Yeah, the coalition of the willing +1, Trump, supposedly gave an ultimatum, made an ultimatum, excuse me, to the Russian Federation. They had 36 hours.
Do it like this or else.
36 hours, do it or else. And then last night, President Putin assembled a press conference and brought people together. He didn't answer any questions that I'm aware of. He just made a statement, and his statement was basically a trump card because he was able to basically counter what the guys in Kiev had to say, and basically said, look, we were at the negotiating table in Istanbul in 2022. You guys pulled out. We've had a ceasefire that we agreed to with regard to energy infrastructure for Easter.
Yep.
And you violated it.
And Easter you violated.
Did
and
another
Veterans Day they violated.
Veterans, yes, exactly. So then Russia initiated a second ceasefire for the May holiday, or the Victory Day.
Yep.
That was violated. I mean, vehemently violated. So he says, look, we're not doing this ceasefire thing anymore. We're going to be in Istanbul on the 15th of May. You're welcome to the table. We'll meet you there. Bye. That's basically it.
Yeah. But
So,
this also followed
what
his
happens.
statement with Xi Jinping, where, President of China said that he supports ending the conflict, but the West has to address the underlying issues. So he gave his full support to Russia on this.
Yeah, he did. They both, Xi Jinping and President Putin, seem to be in step with each other with regard to the West. So, yeah, and we haven't really talked geopolitics in a while. It'll be good to see what happens in the next few days, especially after May 15th. We'll see what happens. But anyway, in the meantime, let's talk about
I was
little...
going to say, the problem I see with the geopolitics right now is I've been going to stream even without you on some of this, but by the time I can get ready to stream, everything's changed again.
Yeah.
It's moving so quickly. We could do a 24/7 show.
It's definitely in flux. And Atrava says, I don't have any questions because by the time I will go to Russia, all laws will be different, but I still like to hear what you guys have to say. Yeah.
Trava, I would ask if you have questions anyway, because some things won't change. The SIM card issue is not going to change much. The visa issues generally won't change. A lot of the things we'll talk about won't change or are unlikely to change much.
Yeah. So I have an update with regard to SIM card and U Money. Have y'all heard of U Money?
I have a U Money account.
You have a U Money account. Wow. Interesting. Well, okay, so the big
Haven't
buzz,
heard this one. The eSIM one I know. So
the big
shoot.
the big buzz is that July 1st, all foreigners in Russia must comply with the Russian regulation, with the Russian rules, and the Russian law. Let's just put it what it is with regard to having a SIM card in your phone with a Russian phone number. So, in order to have or to purchase a SIM card, or if you already have a SIM card, you must register that SIM card with the government. But before you can do that, you have to establish an account with the government. And this is in the form of what's called a SNILS. It's a Russian acronym. We won't get into what it is, but essentially it's like a social security number. Would that be
Yeah,
fair, Kevin?
that's fair.
So it's like a Russian social security number, and it establishes an account with the Russian government that identifies you specifically as a foreign citizen. And you have to tie your SIM card and phone number to this account. And before you can open a bank account in Russia, you must have a Russian phone number. So if
Well,
you
the
want to open a,
SNILS has to be tied to Gosaslugi, which is the state services site, which keeps track of it'll have your passport in it, your SNILS. If you get an INN, which is a tax ID,
all of that will be in your Gosaslugi account. I can open up my Gosaslugi on my phone, and I can see both my SNILS, my ENN, and verify that my phone number has been verified and is also tied here. So, anyway, all of that is going to basically come into play.
and
Now,
actually for people coming into the country, you have to do that now. That's been in effect since January, but July 1st, everybody who's been in the country and has a SIM card has to
has to
register
comply.
and get all this stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So,
So
this,
have you heard anything changing in this new law for the 1 day issuance of the SNILS and the Gosaslugi and stuff? That was
well,
supposed to go into effect April 30th, but last I looked just a few days ago, it hadn't been passed yet.
right. The best answer that I have been able to get is that Sparebank is working on a process where you would be able to go into their bank and in 1 day get everything. You would get a SNILS account, you would get registered with Gosaslugi, they would even sell a SIM card to you and then open a bank account all in 1 day. It is with regret that I state that this is not yet ready for prime time. It's not there yet.
So
What
in the
happened?
last
I don't know.
So in the last several weeks that you haven't been live, I actually dug into that because I was hearing that as well.
Mhm.
And actually, Spurbank is not creating a system to do that. It is the federal government. And I streamed on this, I think, 3 Saturdays ago. So it's a new law proposed in the Duma that has gone through the legal process and everything and is ready to be signed by the Duma. It was originally supposed to be approved by April 30th, but it creates that an authorized representative of the federal government can get this done in one day. So essentially is what the law says is you can go to the multifunction center, you can get your SNILs, they will verify, they will set you up with your Gossaslugi account and verify it while you wait. But it'll be the federal government that does that. And in that one-day process, then you can then leave and you can go to the bank, you can get your SIM card and you can get it. So the way the law is written, unless they modify it, it has to be the MFC that will be doing this.
Okay.
So anyone's interested, look on my stream it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've added the links to the law and everything, but it hasn't been signed yet.
Yeah, so this is a very difficult process to do because there's many steps along the way. Now, you can do these steps as a foreigner. You can do these steps yourself. Absolutely. Yep. You don't need help from anyone. But there may come a point when you do need some help because you can get tripped up. Now, here's something that I need to tell everybody. Because I've had some folks come to me who have come into Moscow or Moscow area and wanted some help. And they wanted through my concierge service for me to help them either get a SNILS card, get their SNILS, or their Gossaslugi, or to open a bank account, SIM card, whatever. Mm-hmm. However, when they've gone to rent a hotel, they're actually residing temporarily in a hotel, but in Moscow region, not in the city of Moscow. In the city of Moscow, you could go to any multifunction center and apply. But if you are in Moscow region, you have to apply at a multifunction center in Moscow region.
Yes.
So that creates an issue because if you want me to go personally to help you, you're actually maybe very far away from me. So it makes it difficult for me to get out there to you. That's one issue that we've been having. The second is, not mentioning any names, but there's an American who came, did the whole process himself, no problem. He's very capable. However, when he went to register his biometrics with Sparebank, because he had a Sparebank account, has a Sparebank account, he went to his local Sparebank and they said, "Oh, sorry, system's down, come back tomorrow." He went back the next day and they said, "Whoops, sorry, system's down, come back tomorrow." Yeah, welcome to Russia. Okay? So he waited a couple of days and he said, "Hey, wait a minute. Maybe Sparebank has a problem. I should be able to go to any other bank and try it." So this time he walked into a VTB and they said, "Yeah, absolutely, the system works. Have a seat. We'll be right with you." Got it done. There are all kinds of stories of this happening. In fact, later this evening at about 11 p.m., there's going to be a video interview coming out with the very first family that has moved into the American Villages project that is run by Tim Kirby and Timur Beslanguerov. So you may want to watch that. But these guys had to wait well over 30 days just to get a Russian phone number because of some issues that they had had along the way. This could happen to anyone. So just be aware. Here's the thing, there's people in the Duma who understand that this is an impediment to people visiting Russia. However, it's not going to change. They're not going to change that rule. So it's going to stay in place for the foreseeable future. And we're just going to have to deal with it. Now, many of you, especially if you're coming from the States, your telephone service, your cell phone service in America may have a plan, an international roaming plan that is also eligible for roaming in Russia. I have T-Mobile, and T-Mobile, depending on the plan you have, also has international roaming here in Russia. And they have high-speed internet and data. It's pricey, but you can get it. So,
and Google Fi has it as well, and they do not charge you for using it in Russia. It comes out of your plan minutes, and so my daughter has that. It works fairly well. I know Verizon also works here, but it's extremely expensive.
yeah, Verizon does work, and it is extreme. It's more expensive than T-Mobile,
Yeah.
but those are options that will save you from having to go through the process of getting a SIM card. Now, how about the bank account deal? Because this is the other issue that people have is that, well, if I'm bringing cash into Russia because my Western bank cards won't work, what other options do I have? That's where U-Money comes in. Now, Kevin I don't have a U-Money account, but I have a story about U-Money. But Kevin, why don't you tell us about how U-Money is supposed to work?
Okay, well, U-Money, I don't know if they've changed the rules since I got mine. I got mine 5 years ago. And I know other people, foreigners who've gotten them. You can go online. You can apply for a U-Money account using an email, and they will email and they will tell you, they will give you a U-Money account, and you can access it online. You're limited to how much you can put in it. It's like 60,000 rubles maximum. And, that's enough to get you by for a while here. But you will also be notified you can raise that limit if you verify yourself with them. And you can make an arrangement where they will meet you, or you can go to their office if you're in the Moscow region, and they will look at your passport. They'll enter your passport information in, and then they increase your limits because you're a verified account. So I've had mine, like I say, for 5 years based on my US passport. And, it just works. And when they meet you, you can then get a plastic card from them. I have one. I don't have it here with me, but I also got a sticker from them. It goes on the back of your phone, and then it works just like Apple Pay or Google Pay. Swipe it at the register, and it takes the money out. And because I'm a citizen now, I don't recall what my limits are, but they're exceptionally high now. So you become a citizen, and then the limits go even higher. So you should be able to do that without a phone number.
So I have an update on that. So I was part of a group who was invited to Sparebank
Mhm.
to see U-Money in operation. And Sparebank is working to make U-Money more accessible and easier for foreigners to use when you come to visit Russia. So the whole idea behind this is there's only one airport out of the three international airports in Russia, in Moscow, that you can arrive at. There's only one airport where they have this particular service, and that's Sheremetyevo Airport. Luckily, it's the one that's closest to me. But you can either go there or you can go to they have like a international visitors welcome center at one of the Sparebank branches here in Moscow. So you register for U-Money in the United States. You can download the app, register on the app. If you have a Russian visa, you can complete the entire registration online. You do not need a Russian phone number. You can use in your American or whatever country your cell phone is registered. When you arrive at the airport, you could either go to the bank branch, the Sparebank branch at the airport, or to this international visitors or welcoming center,
Cool.
and complete the registration there. You can hand your money over. They'll convert it to rubles. They'll then apply that to your U-Money card, issue you a card, and away you go. And now you can use your money, your card, for purchases like you would use.
That's cool because then they've seen your passport at the airport and it increases your limits.
Absolutely. However, there were issues when we were trying to set this this U-Money up. And that process still has some kinks to work out. Hopefully, they'll get them worked out soon. But for the time being, U-Money, I cannot recommend it as an option. You can certainly come to Russia and go to a Sparebank and apply and get a U-Money account, but you'll have to do everything here. As far as the pre-registration and doing all that remotely or in another country, it's not ready yet.
But you can do that at the airport, right?
You should be able to do it at the
Sheremetyevo.
airport. You
Yeah.
should be able to. If not, you can definitely do it at the Sparebank welcoming center that they have. And so things are still difficult for foreigners coming into to Moscow.
Yeah. So since we're talking about the airport and SIM cards, Eddie and I became aware several weeks ago that people were coming in, they were going to the MTS store at Vnukovo Airport, and they would sell them I forget the name of it now, a Yule card, SIM card or something, and they were calling it a guest SIM card. And they said it was good for like 3 months and give you time to go through the process, get, the Gosaslugi stuff and SNIL set up, and then you could get a real SIM card from them. And, they were kind of pushing that. So first off, that's illegal in Russia. You cannot get a Russian number without going through the process. And I have it from an extremely good source that Eddie's got a good idea of who my source is on this. They have new staff at that MTS store at this point. So be aware. A lot of people say gee, it's just a SIM card. I can get one from a friend that's meeting me in Moscow. Or you may have somebody who's helping you with your immigration that says, we'll lend you a card while you go through the process. That is illegal. It is illegal for somebody in Russia to buy a SIM card and give it to somebody else that they are not directly related to. And in Russia, directly related means your children, your spouse, and your grandparents.
Actually, I understand that your spouse cannot purchase a SIM card for you either, technically.
Under the law, they can. I had that looked into as well. So because your spouse is directly related to you. So they actually have a legal definition of what directly related is. It's children, spouse, grandparents. So if somebody is getting a SIM card and giving it to you when you arrive, while they're helping you do other stuff, they are violating federal law, and you are an accessory to that crime. So that means if somebody finds out, you are put at risk of being deported, and they end up with an administrative fine. The least that will happen to you if you get caught is you will get an administrative fine. And the way Russia works, if you're here on a tourist visa or temporary residency and you get 2 administrative fines, you're heading out of the country. And what, Eddie? We must be aware of 3 or 4 people who've gotten cards this way from people. And people talk, and I can tell you that people are being investigated.
So I hope everything works out. So here's basically what I'm saying. If you're coming to Russia to visit, which I hope you are, because you need to come and visit. Visit first. But realize that you do not need a Russian SIM card. If you have service back in the States, it's going to cost you a little more, but just make sure that you have international roaming and high-speed roaming, because as part of my regular plan with T-Mobile, let me explain this, I do get messaging and voice here in Russia, but my messaging is free. My calls are 25 cents a minute. That's pretty expensive. But my data is data speeds from 2010. It's like 3G, if that. It is very, very slow. Now, if I want high-speed internet, I've got to pay T-Mobile prime money, and then they'll turn it on over here, and then it just acts like a Russian SIM card. I mean, it's high-speed internet, but you're going to pay for it. So,
but it's only for about a month at most. So
it's a month. If you're here for 2 or 3 weeks, if you're paying $30, $35, even $50 for that high-speed internet on your phone, absolutely worth it, because you don't need the snills, you don't need any of that stuff. Okay, so consider that. The other thing that I want to bring up is many people want to many people are concerned about bringing cash into Russia, actually into any country. I totally understand that. But given the way that the situation is now, with the sanctions in place, you really don't have much of an option. What do you say, Kevin?
I would say if you are going to go and you're going to get the U-Money account when you arrive at the airport, bring some cash with you to last you for 3-4 weeks. Do not carry a pile of cash with you. There are no direct flights into the country at this point. contact me. We can arrange to get your money here. And I've got videos about that on my channel, or you can ping me in Telegram. And, beyond that first few weeks or month that you're here, we can get you your money here legally.
Absolutely. Good point. Legal transfer of money. So,
And there's my Telegram if you.
those are the biggest issues right now with regard to any foreigner coming to Russia, and especially those coming from America. Interesting,
So-
because I want to talk to. There's about three or four different Americans that I've actually consulted with through worryfreerussia.com that are now here in Russia. They came for the May 9th celebration, but I haven't had time to really talk to them to find out exactly how their visits are going, but I do want to follow up on them. And if you're in the live chat, and if you're one of these people, please let me know. How's it going?
So Jam's got a question related to the SIM cards, and Otrana, we'll get to your question yet too. We're just not at that part yet. So Jam, a direct family member is your spouse, your children, your grandparents. So doesn't matter the age, your spouse, your children, your grandparents.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kevin. And in fact, what other questions have we had come up with regard to
Jesus.
immigration?
Oh, this one, I've had 3 people in the last 24 hours that I've talked to that have said that various people are giving them advice and they're getting bad advice. I've got a couple that I have roughly, well, let's just say 7 figures of money sitting in an escrow account for them. They arrived in Russia about a week or so ago. I'm meeting with them tomorrow. They have their bank account set up and everything. They got it done in just a little over a week. And they hired an attorney not in the region they're settling with. And the attorney told them, not a problem. Pay me. I will do all the paperwork for you to apply for your residency. They're applying for residency in Crimea. And he said, not a problem. I'll do all the paperwork. Go to Simferopol, get your medical test done, and apply for your temporary residency. You'll be ready to go. But they're here on a tourist visa. The lawyer told them they could come on a tourist visa and apply. So there's 2 things. Even in Moscow, if you come on a tourist visa, you have to get a quota before you can apply for residency. And you have to take the language, law, and history test after you get the quota in order to get the temporary residency. Eddie knows all about getting temporary residency. He did it not too long ago through this standard process. And he says, what, you mean I can't just go apply for residency? I says, no, you have to apply for a quota. And by the time you get the quota, could be 2-3 months later, your background check will be expired. A tourist visa is not the same as the 702 shared value visa.
That's cool.
So in the case of Crimea, all regions The laws in Russia are broad enough. This lawyer told them all the laws are exactly the same across the country. They're not. The Russian Federation leaves a lot of generalizations in the law and lets regions, determine how to apply them in their region. In Moscow, you can apply for a quota and your residency on a tourist visa. In Crimea, you can apply for the quota while you're on a tourist visa, but then you have to leave the country, get a private visa, come back in, or they won't allow you to apply for residency. So you have to hire a lawyer or somebody who does this for a living in the region you're going to be in that actually does this and knows what the hell they're doing. So
That's a
yeah.
that's a very good point, because if you are coming to Moscow and you hire an attorney in Moscow, then decide to rent an apartment or land in a hotel in Moscow region, your Moscow attorney won't be able to help you, because attorneys can only operate within a particular geographical area. So if you hire a Moscow attorney, they can help you in Moscow. But if you're registered, you're domiciled elsewhere, they cannot help you. Does that make sense? Or do I need to
Let's clarify a little
clarify it a little bit more?
Yeah.
So that
If
people understand.
If you go to Michael Braden, he can operate in Moscow and Moscow region. It's kind of like the Bar Association in the United States. They have to be licensed in the region that they're operating in. Timur Beslangurov can operate in Moscow, Moscow region, and Nizhny Novgorod. So you have to be very careful. This guy who hired this attorney in another region, it's one of the regions they were looking at, but they wanted to come as tourists and look around first. He gave them bad advice for settling in Crimea. Now, I can't recommend an attorney in Crimea. However, my wife and I are tied into the immigration people in Crimea. Timur and Michael refer people that are coming to Crimea to my wife and I. We are not attorneys, but we know the people in immigration. We can take you there. We can introduce you. We can get you consultations with them. So that's one case of visa issues. The other one that I've run across several people that have done, and I'm thinking 3 different people now, is they are hiring somebody in Moscow who tells them that the easiest way to get residency in Russia is through asylum or refugee status, and that their passports will temporarily take their passport from the other country away from them. So a couple of things. Asylum status, refugee status does not give you residency. You have to go back once a year, and you have to prove once a year that you're afraid to live in the country that you come from. And God forbid, if relations had warmed with the United States, or if they go back to warming, all of a sudden, people from the United States on refugee status won't be able to say, I'm afraid to live there. Russia will say, well, we've resolved things. You can go back now. They do temporarily take your international passport from you, but they keep it until you leave the country. And when you leave the country, you lose your refugee status. So as long as you're living here on refugee or asylum status, you have no passport. You cannot leave the country, period. This is just the way it is. Do not come here. I know of somebody who spent 2 years trying to get his refugee status and finally got it. I also know of a couple who got refugee status using the same person, and they've been in the country for about a year and a half now. And, they haven't been able to leave the country for a year and a half. They have no passports. So if you're coming here, the easy way, if you're from one of the countries that is on the list, is to come on the 702 shared value visa. You go to the embassy, you apply for it. It's actually a private visa that's good for 3 months. This is after you've come as a tourist and figured out where you want to live. You come on that shared value visa, that private visa, and you're invited by the government itself. You have 3 months to go to the region you want to live in. You can apply the day you arrive for residency. You have no language test. You have no history, no law test. You simply fill out the paperwork, get your medical stuff done, and you apply. If you're coming to Crimea, you bring your shared value visa in your passport. You go to the immigration center in Simferopol, and they do everything right there. They translate your documents for you. They do your medical stuff. The girls there will even fill out your application for you for about 6,000 to 8,000 rubles. And you wait 10 days for your documentation to be translated and for the medical stuff to come back. You go back, you physically submit the application, and you're on your way to residency, 3-year temporary residency. So that's the easy way without all the BS around it. Do not come on refugee status. The couple I was talking about that's been here for a year and a half, reality is they made up stories for them about why they were afraid to live in the United States. If they get found out, they will be deported because they lied on their application. So make sure whoever you're using actually knows what they're talking about. There's a reason why when people are going to Moscow, I refer them to Timur and Michael. There's a reason they refer them to us down here. If you're going to Krasnodar, I know nothing about that. They're another monster. They have different rules than Moscow as well. Timur has told me that. We're actually going to invite Timur to come on and do a stream with Eddie and I again. I just had to get that out of my system.
No. I'm glad. I'm glad you got that out because, of course, we're on the YouTube sphere. By the way, I want TikTok and Instagram now. I'll put those links down below too.
Really?
So,
cool.
Yeah, I finally decided to go that route as well. But anyway, there are many on the social media sphere who have made a name for themselves by claiming to be in fear of returning to the United States, for that they will be prosecuted or they will be arrested, or whether that's true or not, I don't know. Okay? I don't know. But they have been very successful in creating an online persona by saying that. Okay? You'll never hear me say that I'm afraid to go back to the United States. I did not run from the United States. I ran to Russia.
You went there in December, spent 6 weeks, came back,
I was
no
there
problem.
for 6 weeks. I left the country several times, going to Mexico and crossed the border back. No issues whatsoever. I've been very vocal.
My daughter just came straight through immigration, no problems leaving. And when she goes back, she has no problems going back. She goes back and forth all the time.
Yeah. So I can't speak for these individuals.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
A lot of them though are creating stories and personas to support it when they're actually lying.
Well,
I
I'm not
go
gonna.
back. Well,
I'm not gonna
I'm
come
not
out and call
referring to
them a lot.
anybody in particular, but we do know people who have created stories to say that they were fearful to go back that were not true stories.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but
I I
I
worked
don't know.
for the US government. I came here. I stream against the US government. I can still go back and forth with no problem. I'm not a Scott Ritter. Scott Ritter could probably get asylum here if he wanted. He's had the FBI knock down his doors.
He bona fide had the FBI knock on his door. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a total different story and different circumstance. But I was very vocal against the Biden administration. I was very vocal for my total disdain for Anthony Blinken and his State Department. Yet I went back to the States twice. Actually lived in the States for a while as well, back and forth during the Biden administration, being vocal about it. Never had any issues. I don't know. Maybe I'm just I'm not valuable. I'm not a high value target like some of these other podcasters and YouTubers are. But
Yep.
anyway, take everything with a grain of salt, okay? Come visit Russia. Just come find out for yourself. Did you not
Yes.
see all of the tons of video? I mean, there are literally hundreds, thousands of videos from this May 9th celebration. How many people from all over the world were here? Incredible. I mean, it's
Yep.
just come visit. Okay? Be prepared. There's going to be some issues, and that's why you've got people like me. That's why you got people like Kevin that you can consult with to kind of prepare for your coming to Russia. That's it. That's all you got to do. And be prepared. Come have a good time, and then go back to the States and tell your family, yeah, I was waiting to get shaken down by the police, but all they wanted to do was shake my hand.
So here's a number for you. Last year, 9.5 million foreigners visited Russia.
Wow. Incredible. I wonder how many of those were Americans.
Well, guess what? I'll tell you in just a second. Good old Chat GPT. 670,690.
Wow. Little over 500,000.
Yep.
Wow.
So, Jam, and we will get to everybody's question. Don't worry. Have we heard of any Canadians getting hassled by the Canadian government over criminal background checks, attempting to stop money transfers? No. I've heard of people who have had issues, but it isn't related to them coming here, as long as you get advice from somebody who can tell you what you should say and what you shouldn't say. They won't give you a hassle over getting a background check, because where you're going to use the background check doesn't play into the background check at all. You can get a criminal background check without telling them anything. You can just ask for it. In the United States, even. You apply for it, they send it to you. You can go to what do they call these guys that actually do the fingerprints and get them for you? It's too late for me to remember. But they have these authorized guys. You can go there. They'll scan your fingerprints, and 3 days later, you can pick up your background check from them.
So
So
I documented this story that I'm about to just repeat one more time for especially those of you in the States worried about coming to Russia. I had to return to Russia because I needed to get a background check in order to apply for residency. I also needed to get another document that I needed just to get married here in Russia. So I had to go back to Texas. When I went to Texas, I only had 3 weeks to get this done. And I had to get my fingerprints done, and I had to get the return back from FBI, and I had to have it apostille before I returned to Russia. I had to physically return with an apostille FBI check. So, returned to Texas, went to the post office, got my fingerprints done. Within 15 minutes of leaving the post office and just walking to my car, I get an alert that I've got an email from the FBI. I already had my background check. Next stop was I went to my local representative, my local U.S. representative in my district, who, by the way, is a Democrat. I was a Republican. I am a Republican. Did not matter. I walked in and I said, I need help. And they said, what can we help you with? I said, I have a background check, an FBI background check, and I need an apostille. But I cannot wait the 11 weeks that the State Department says that it's going to take to get it done because I need to return to Russia. I live in another country. And I told them the truth. They didn't bat an eye. They didn't give me any indication that I was treasonous or less of an American or absolute professional conduct from, and this is Representative Gonzalez's office, District 33 in Texas. Absolute professionals. We filled in the paperwork. They said, we're going to help you. This is what you have to do. They gave me the instructions. I followed the instructions to a T. And within 7 days of me mailing my FBI background check to the State Department, I had received it apostilled, ready to go. I had follow-up emails with my representative's office. Okay? Relax, people. Relax. Yep. Uncle Sam may not like what you do, but they're not out to get you.
Yeah. So when was it that you were told 11 weeks, Eddie?
11 weeks was, I will tell you, this was December 2023.
Well, the State Department was still closed due to COVID.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the processing service in the United States, I refer people to if they're in Russia, their average time then was running 8 to 10 weeks as well. Right now, I just looked on their website. They're saying 4 weeks or less. I know people have gone through them recently. It takes 2 weeks to get them back. Canada's the same thing. Apostilles, they don't care. They will apostille it. The only thing they're saying is, yes, the signature on it is valid. So, calm down, Jam. It isn't a problem. Jam, I deal with Canadians all the time. My wife once told me a long time ago, people create their own worries and problems. Quit creating your own worries. Just do it, apply for it, and don't worry about it. It will come back, and it will come back when you need it. If you go on
I will say this.
Go on their site, they'll tell you about how long it'll take.
Have a positive attitude about it. I did, because it's like I'm returning to Russia with an apostille FBI check. No doubt about it. This is going to happen because I need it to happen. So believe in the process, believe in yourself, and just put benevolence ahead of you, and just everything's going to work
Yeah.
out. And that's the same attitude that you need to have when you come to Russia as well. Just like everything's going to work out for me. Just things work out, and they do. And that's the best thing you can bring to Russia with you is just a positive attitude. Actually, no matter where you go, just go walk with a positive attitude.
And the other part of your question, Jim, is money. Everybody who is taking money to bring it to Russia and they say the wrong things to the bank have problems. The government isn't. They have the same rules as the United States have, which are pretty much the same rules that Russia has. 10,000 US dollar equivalent you can carry with you. However, just like in the United States, Great Britain, France, Italy, Canada, banks will ask you what you plan to do with the money. If you tell them, I'm taking it to Russia to move, they aren't going to give you your money. If you tell them that you're going to buy a bag of illegal narcotics and spend $10,000 on it, they aren't going to give you your money. So you have to use your brain about what you're answering them. You know, I tell people this all the time. You go to the bank and you say, hey, I need 10 grand. I'm going to take a trip to another country, look around, spend some time there, see if I like it. And I need money to pay for hotels. I need money for this and this and this. No problem. Transferring money. I do it for Canadians as well as people in just about every other Western country on a regular basis. The people who have problems are the ones who tell stupid stories. I had somebody say, well, I'm building a house. Well, guess what? You aren't transferring money through my company to build a house because my company doesn't build houses. So that doesn't make sense. So they blocked her money. I had a guy, transferring money who said, I'm sending money to my girlfriend in Russia. They blocked his money. So you just have to know what to tell them, what not to. So again, ask for advice.
Absolutely.
And Otrana, we have not forgotten about your question.
In fact, why don't we get to it? We're sitting right at about an hour.
Okay, let's do it.
So, your desire is to move, live, grow old, and die in Primorsky Krai. That town is close to the Sea of Japan. Would the border restrictions apply there? Не знаю. How about you, Kevin?
Well, I happen to live in a region we tell people all the time, and this is what people hear even from the government here, a foreigner cannot buy land in Crimea. That's not totally true. There are exactly two areas of Crimea that foreigners can buy land. It's not by the seaside. I can't tell you if you can buy land where you want to go, because I would need to know an exact address as to where you are going to buy land. There is a government list that lists every region of Russia and the parts of those regions where foreigners cannot own land. There's parts of St. Petersburg foreigners can't own land. And there's areas that you can own land. So it all really depends. You need a copy of the list. You need to find out exactly where you're going to live. And, that's the only way to determine it. Not much more to say about that, really. It just depends on where you're going to go. So come visit, find the section of town you want to live in and stuff, then we can check the list for you.
Absolutely. And if you're thinking about wanting to visit Russia, it's a great time. Summer is almost here, even though it didn't feel like it this morning or even right now. I think it's about plus 2 or 3. Yeah, and a little rainy. But yeah, get yourself a tourist visa. This is the first thing to do. It doesn't take a long time to get a tourist visa if you're in the United States. Turnaround time is about 3 weeks. And if you would like some more information about it, you can go right here. Where is it? There. worryfreerussia.com, or over here to Kevin's side and get some more information there as well. And we can walk you through the process.
Yeah, Otrona, I have the official list. Go to my Telegram, ping me, I can give you a link to it. Or I guess I should change what's underneath my name over here. But again, ping me here and I can give you the list. Telegram's the best way to get me. You can send me an email. It's in the About section of the American in Crimea YouTube channel. But I'm not real great at answering emails quickly.
Yeah, Jam says that I saw people wearing winter hats at the Victory Day parade. It was probably because of the wind. It really wasn't cold. It was a nice day. And let's see. Regis, can you talk about...
Yeah, we've got 11 Celsius here right now, so it's been a chilly spring.
Yeah, and Regis writes, can you talk about the new regulations for the SIM card? Actually, we started off the podcast talking just about this. So we're about to wrap this up. Rewind, watch it from the very beginning, and we'll have all that information. And if for some reason you don't get your question answered, is go to worryfreerussia.com and you can set up a consultation, and we'd be more than happy to spend some time with you and discuss your particular situation.
Yep. Or to West to Freedom, westtofreedom.com if you've got questions about money.
Let's see.
What else Trona, you can write to me in about 30 seconds. Don't expect a response until tomorrow. It's late here, so I won't respond when we're done.
Yeah, depending on where you are, it's 10:18 p.m. in Moscow. Yeah, so it's kind of late. But anyway, we hope that you've enjoyed this conversation. And like I said, if you have any questions, worryfreerussia.com, or what's your site, Kevin? I think we should still have
westtofreedom.com.
Let's see, where's West of Freedom?
There you go.
There you go, right there. Yeah, and we used to do these lives all the time, and this is my first live in probably at least 6-8 weeks, maybe more. It's been a while.
I think only about 4. Let's give you a little credit.
Maybe about 4. Okay, maybe about 4 weeks. I don't know. I've done a lot.
B10 Wold, a video about cost of visiting Crimea. I'll give it some consideration. Costs change. It is a tourist area, but yeah, I can throw it in the queue and give that some thought. You'll find that on my channel, though, on a Saturday stream.
Absolutely. Good question, by the way.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks. Appreciate it. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe if this is your first time watching The Moscow Photographer or Kevin Michelizzi. Because what channel are you going out on?
Like you, I'm going out on both my channels.
American Crimea and
American in Crimea, and the new channel, which is the Ministry of Absolute Truth.
I like that.
I changed like InfoWars Press to Ministry of Absolute Truth because I found that I like writing satire and Orwellian reports about things much more than serious stuff. And I've been flooding my subscribers with articles lately. So if you go down here to the Ministry of Absolute Truth.org, I've got a whole section of free articles, and I have a section where it's paid articles only. However, because you're watching us here tonight, if you send me a PM, a private message in Telegram, and tell me you're interested in seeing some of the content in the paid site and that you saw it on this stream, I will comp you 3 months of free access to that. Cool. I'll need your email. So,
very cool. I want to give a shout out to, Flying with Robert Johnston.
Hey.
From Central Texas. By the way, Flying with Robert Johnston he's got a YouTube channel as well, dealing with flight. And if I remember right, you're a flight instructor? I believe so. Anyway, go check out his channel.
Is that a Cessna 172, Robert?
Or a 182? It looks like
182.
Looks longer. Tell us what it is.
Olya, we don't get into the Russia-Ukraine conflict other than from a geopolitical point of view. None of us support conflict between countries. Peace is much better, but let's leave it at that. Hey!
Yeah, it is a 172. Okay, it looks a little bit longer.
Hard to tell down there in the corner.
Very, very cool.
Started out on one of them.
I never flew a 172. I spent some time in a 150. And was it a 152? I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time. I think I was like 19 years old. Yeah. My pleasure, my friend, my fellow Texan, Flying with Robert Johnston. Everybody go out and check out his channel as well.
Yeah, I went from the 172. I worked up to a Piper PA-34 with my instructor. Loved flying that twin engine plane.
2 flight instructors in the chat. I guess Jam's an instructor as well.
Jam is a flight instructor as well. Yeah.
Welcome. All right. Maybe one of these days we can do something about aviation. And speaking of aviation, I just released a video about a couple hours ago. I went to I saw the air parade. That was the only thing I could see from Victory Day parade, because I'll tell you how this happened. I went down to Tverskaya, which is the main street where all the tanks and all the military vehicles headed toward Red Square go by. And usually it's open to pedestrians. This year, completely closed and blocked. So couldn't get up close and personal to the parade. And the only thing I could see was the air parade from a distance. So anyway, I did get some beautiful shots of the Su-30s from the Russian Knights and also the Su-25s. So go check them out.
Yep. watched your video just before we came on.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, so we got multi-engine fun. We got Mitsubishi MU2 and THC3 on floats. Wonderful. One of these days, maybe we'll do an aviation.
Eddie,
Can you hear me
gotta
still?
plug it into power. That's the first thing I did when I bought this camera. On your advice, was
Do I still have audio?
Yeah, you
Do
still
I have
have
audio? I am. Okay, I can still talk. Yeah, I'm not even going to worry about changing the dang battery. But anyway.
Yeah. First thing I did was buy the dummy battery with the USB-C plug.
Yeah, I should have done that. Well, yeah, please stop this stuff you're doing.
Yes.
All stuff. Or we'll block
This
you.
is second warning, Olya. So
Yeah. Good Lord, Eddie. I know. Happens all the time. All right, folks. We will see you again soon. We will have a special guest next time we meet. Talk about some immigration issues. And maybe right after this May 15th deadline, we'll have another.
Dingbat, hey.
Yeah, Dingbat. Every single time, man. All right, my friends. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday, no matter where you are. Пока.
Yep. Пока, everybody.